Hello and welcome to another episode of Growing Up B2B. I'm your host, Ed Delia. I'm the second generation president of Delia Associates, the place where B2B brands go to grow. Today I'm joined by Ron and Kara Shovlin, the husband and wife team leading Shovlin Mattress Factory in Fanwood, New Jersey. The company's roots date back to 1972 when Ron's family first took ownership, and over the years it has become a trusted name for handcrafted mattresses built with integrity and care. Ron grew up in the business, learning every part of production. Kara brought a fresh perspective, helping to modernize the brand and strengthen its customer connections. Together, they've kept the family legacy alive while adapting to a modern marketplace. Ron, Kara, welcome to Growing Up B2B.
Thanks for having us,
Thank
Ed.
you. Nice to
Awesome,
be here.
awesome. Ron, if you would, take us back to those early days in the factory. What do you remember most about growing up around the business?
For me, it started back when I was probably about 13 years old. Couldn't really sit still, so my mother would bring me to work and I would help out as much as I could. I'd jump on the delivery truck, help to load it, I loved being around the guys. I loved getting my hands dirty, and it was probably better to have me there and keep me out of trouble.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So now a lot of people, when they explore a family business or they grow up around it as you did, and quite honestly, as I did too, sometimes they explore other paths. So was there ever a time when you wanted to think about doing something else before committing to Shovlin Mattress?
There was a few things that popped into my head when I was in high school. Really just growing up there when I wasn't playing sports or at school, working on the weekends, I knew of my path. Graduated college and really 5 days later started full time.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Kara, let's talk about your journey for a minute. So you joined the business at what I'll say sounds like it was a pivotal moment and helped reshape the operations as well as marketing. So if you would, for it, what drew you in? What was it that said, "Hey, I'd like to be part of this. I'd like to be involved."
A necessity, really. It was an interesting time. A lot of things had happened at once. We had moved from one location to another, sort of unexpectedly had to make that choice. His brother, who was his partner, had decided that he was moving on from the business, and the recession also was happening at the same time. Lots had changed. The way how well known we were in the community, the move definitely caused some issues. So a lot of things had to be addressed and looked at. Also, our overhead went up. Just a lot of things had changed, and it was all really bad timing. I came into Ron. Obviously, he just couldn't do all of the things that needed to be done. He was running the business, and now there was all these different aspects that were in play that kind of needed to be managed. Most specifically, the marketing. We needed to tell people
No,
where we
don't
were.
lie. And the money management. I was terrible at money management, so that's one of the big tasks.
Also, that.
Okay. Okay.
So that is one area that is, I guess I excel more than Ron at. So I came in to manage the office, the back end, and also the marketing. That was the beginning of it. And we've been having fun with it. So
That's great. So I always ask this of whenever I interview husband-wife teams, what did that conversation look like? Did it evolve, or did the two of you sit down and say, "Hey, Ron, like maybe, hey, I need help with this," and Kara's like, "I can help with this," or was it a bit more organic than that in your particular scenario?
It was more of the, hey, I need help with this. With the recession and with the change of my brother leaving, I just couldn't do it all.
Yeah.
And I tried, and it was just overwhelming. And managing the sales and operations. And as I mentioned, I wasn't great with finance. She really stepped in and implemented, and here's a little shout out to Mike McAllowitz, Profit First. And we're still doing it today. And if it wasn't for Kara coming in and doing that, I don't know where we'd be.
Okay. Okay. So as you stepping up and saying, "Hey, I need help,"
Yeah.
and Kara, you observing, "Hey, I can help."
Yeah.
these are the things I can do, and let me
Yeah.
come in and take those hats, and I'll wear those hats. And yeah, that worked out.
Collectively, we were pretty creative. So it was a lot of
Mhm.
fun doing the marketing together.
Awesome. Being a married couple, running a family business. If we could talk about this, and Karen, maybe I'll ask this question of you. How do you manage the balance? Because that's always an issue. Being business partners, but also being life partners. How do you manage the two? What's your mechanism of doing that?
An interesting question, and one that we get asked a lot, and I feel like my answer is never really super clear. What's interesting is that we've been together since we were very young. We were 15. So it's not like this is all we know, right? This dynamic in our relationship. We had a long time of being together where we had just fun. And now it's different. And I think on one hand, we spend a lot of time talking about work anyway. And so that was a
Mhm.
natural transition. It didn't feel that strange. On the other hand, I think EO, the entrepreneur organization, and Ron's involvement in that has played a big role in helping us navigate that work-life balance because
Sure.
now he has a place to go, and so do I. We're both in a forum where he can go and deal with the kind of the crummy stuff, the struggles and all that, and it doesn't have to be the only thing that we about at night. So we try to keep those conversations as daytime things and let the nighttime we try to unplug when we get home in the evening.
Cool. And a little factoid, Michalowicz was, I think, either the first or second EO New Jersey member that I met way back in the day.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
Very nice. Yes, we're big fans of his from his book. That was a pivotal moment in the business for
Yeah,
sure.
so,
That and joining EO, that was just, it gave
yeah,
me a place to vent so I didn't bring everything home.
yeah, and it does that. It certainly
Yeah.
does that. In addition to Shovlin Mattress, so Kara, sorry, I keep picking on you, Kara, today. Ron, I promise.
It's
I'll ask you
prettier
some
anyway.
questions.
That's okay.
You're also launching Beam Light Sauna, a wellness franchise that's also, I think, geographically situated not too far from the factory, right?
Yeah.
So how does that feel? Like you're about to start embarking on building something new while still supporting the core family business.
Interesting question.
I save all the interesting questions for
Yeah.
you. All the dumb
Yeah,
questions, boring questions are for Ron,
that's
but
fine.
It's super exciting. It's also super scary. I'm grateful for Shovlin Mattress because it's given us this ability to be able to explore a little bit, branch out, take a little bit of a risk. So I'm excited for what's to come. We're going to be doing that together as well, although, of course, that'll be more me and Shovlin will remain more Ron, but we definitely will be cross-pollinating quite a bit. And I'm grateful for that because we have the background in Ron's experience in running a business. And so that's going to really help us move forward in a confident way with the new business. So I'm excited.
Awesome. And you said a little bit concerned too. So it would be one of the areas of trepidation.
It's just scary when you invest in something new and take a risk. It's a new modality. It's the business itself. It's a infrared sauna and red light therapy studio. So the concept is relatively new, at least untested. But it's also just scary to betting on yourself and putting
Yeah.
yourself out there to try and make something cool
Yeah.
and see. I don't know, it just feels a little bit nerve-wracking, but I'm again, like I said, the confidence that I have with him next to me with his years of experience in all of the areas. It's a much simpler business and he's run manufacturing and delivery and sales and Shovlin Mattress has a lot of moving parts. This one is not going to. So it's not
Yeah.
really that scary, but it's yeah.
Running one business is challenging enough, right? And it's occupied so much of our daily
Yeah.
Yeah.
time. Throwing another one in there is,
It's the unknown.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
sure. I get it. However, when you think about the broader context of really mattress and then light sauna therapy, it's still living in the, I guess, the greater boundaries of physical well-being and wellness and health. You're not going too far outward bounds in this one. You're still staying somewhat within the zone of expertise. So in that
Absolutely.
regard, would seem to make a lot of sense. And it sounds really cool. I've never heard of beam light sauna at all. So that sounds really neat.
Nobody has.
Ron, I promised I'd get back to you with a
Oh, we
question.
got boring questions now?
So
Okay,
here we
good.
go. Actually, I don't think this one's boring. This one's interesting. So you've experienced several transitions in the course of your time and tenure with Shovlin, from working under your mom initially, then taking over ownership, a parting of ways with some other family members, to ultimately positioning the company for a bigger future. So if you look back, what's been that big turning? If you said, hey, this was a really big turning point for me as a leader, what might that moment be? What could you share that?
Yeah, there's a couple, but the two that really stick out, Kara had mentioned earlier, the transition when we moved our factory. That was right after the recession or during the recession. And so a lot of people there thought we had closed because we were in one location for 20 plus years. So that was a challenge. But then also shortly thereafter, we then rebranded. So we changed the name of the company. So,
What was the company's name before?
it was just the Mattress Factory.
Just the Mattress Factory.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
we put our last name on it because we had these visions of growth and potentially selling our product to other people as wholesale, which we never did. But yeah, so really just digging back into the community and
Mhm.
really relying on them. They were supporting us, so really just getting our name out there. That was the biggest challenge, but I think we handled it really well with just our involvement,
Yeah.
leaning on them.
And leaning into community. Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely a big turning point from new location, new brand, new face forward for sure.
Yeah.
And if you look back as an industry, the mattress industry, it's certainly has changed a lot across your tenure, right? You've got some of the big box stores, some of the specialty retailers, and then, to some extent, some online disruptors. What would you say gives Shovlin Mattress the edge in a somewhat crowded or at least a competitive space?
Yeah, one of the things we really stuck to tradition. A lot of these companies came in with concepts and selling stories about products, and the bed in a box was a big disruptor in our industry. And in the beginning, it hurt us because it was convenient. People could just order it online and it shows up the next day. But the problem is one mattress does not fit all.
No.
And that has, so the return rate's really high. So we stuck to tradition and we've evolved our brand. We've stuck to the old traditional ways of doing things. And people really appreciate that, especially when they're looking for something that's going to last with longevity.
Yeah. When you think about the amount of time you spend said mattress, that's a good chunk of your life.
Right.
So it's an area where people, I think, where quality and craftsmanship and comfort matter
Yeah.
huge and are very distinctive from person to person. The tastes are all over the board, as I'm sure you all know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no one likes to buy a mattress. So if you have to do it every 2, 3 years, it's just misery over again. We do the right thing, build the right product so they don't have to do it every 3 years,
Yeah.
do it every 10, 12 years.
Speaking of craftsmanship, I think that's always been, from what I understand, cornerstone to the Shovlin brand name.
Yeah,
So what does made by hand mean to you today, and how do you keep that promise alive?
sure. When a customer comes in, we ask a lot of qualifying questions. We don't automatically point them in one direction. And every single mattress we make is built to order. When you walk in, your mattress isn't sitting in our warehouse waiting for it to be delivered. Everybody's got different ailments, different body size, different body shapes, and you want to make sure that what they're getting is right and it's going to support them for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Nice thing too is we can always make an adjustment. So if the firmness isn't right or perfect, we can literally pick their mattress up, bring it into our factory, make an adjustment, and get it back to them.
Wow, I didn't even know that was on the table.
It's not anywhere else. Just
Yeah.
that's the advantage of being factory direct. Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow, it didn't even occur to me. That's pretty cool. You can't do that with a mattress in a box.
Nope.
No, can't do that.
Can't even send that back anymore.
Yeah, I could say a few things about mattress in a box, but I won't. I'll leave them alone for right now.
That'll be off
Um,
here.
Thinking about Shovlin, thinking about this new venture, Kara, you have a background in health, wellness, and I think sports psychology, right? Is your background. That seems to connect very well to sleep, to recovery, to wellness. Talk about that for a moment. How has that background and perspective influenced your approach as you started to take on marketing and maybe to some degree customer engagement?
Yeah, I think it's the cornerstone of our marketing actually. So when I came in to the business, I think prior to that, we were very similar to everyone else that was out there. And what differentiated us for many years back in the 80s and so forth was that we were factory direct. So we were getting the same quality mattress that the name brands were making. We were just selling it cheaper because we were making it and there was no middleman, right? So as the industry began to change, which is around the time that I came into the business, the name brands started changing the way they built their mattresses and quality became less important to them and it was more of a bottom line situation. And we were, as Ron had said, we were sticking to tradition and old school ways of making things. And when I came in, we started having this conversation about what differentiates us now is not same product, better price. It's way better product, same price at this point. And we were just talking about how does that translate and who are we as a company? And it really became a conversation around wanting to provide like something really great for people and how do we communicate that? And it was about health and wellness became like our founding value. It's really what we're selling is health and wellness and sleep, I believe, is the foundation of that. And I've had, like I said, I'm a health coach. I've had tons of training in recovery, wellness, and all alternative wellness modalities and things like that. And sleep is always in the baseline of the conversation because you can't build anything without that foundation of sleep. So that just became the core of what we were doing.
Cool.
And it reflected in our marketing and the way we interact with customers.
And built to order, are you able to, my past experience has always been, there's a lead time typically for a mattress. It's not, oh, it's right there. And maybe sometimes it is, but it would
Right.
seem that there's typically some form of a lead time. Are you able to match those lead times of whether they be 6 or 8 weeks or whatever the industry norms are?
Oh, we can turn stuff around in a day if we needed to.
Really?
Typically,
Oh my
our turnaround
goodness.
time is within a week and a half max.
Oh,
But
wow.
we've had customers who come in the morning and say, I want to take it with me. So I'll tell them, go get lunch, come back, and it's ready.
Oh my
You know,
God.
we've been doing it 53 years. A lot of my factory workers have been with us for 20 plus. One guy's been with us 47 years.
Wow.
They know what they're doing and they can crank stuff out if they need to.
That's amazing. I hope all our listeners caught that. Do that day to a week. Pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
At this point, you've both seen the challenges of running a manufacturing business up close and personal. So maybe for Ron, if you said, hey, there's a couple of lessons on leadership that I learned that only came from experience. If there was one like, wow, this only is learned through the school of hard knocks or the school of trying and getting up and trying again, what would be one of those big leadership lessons that you learned on the job?
I have to say it's relationships and it's not with customers, it's really with your employees and
Mm.
building the trust. I can do every single job in the factory. I can fix the machines and working along with them, not just being their boss, builds a lot of respect, a lot of camaraderie. And to me, it's not just our family business, but my employees are treated as family members. So to me, that's the number one key to our
Mhm.
success is that they've got a vested interest in the company and they take pride in everything that they do.
Awesome. Awesome. Kara, how would you follow that up?
I would say relationships across the board. I think one of the
Okay.
things that Ron's really great at is building relationships. I think in one of those profiles, disc profiles or something, he's a community builder is
Yeah,
what it tested out as, and that tracks. He builds amazing relationships with customers. I think a lot of our customers feel like they know him.
they do call me on my cell phone.
And a lot of them call him on his cell phone. And also with our vendors, which that became such an asset during COVID, for example. Like he has built such strong relationships with all of our business partners and our vendors that when things were what's the word I'm looking for, a little bit up in the air during COVID
Mhm.
about getting materials and all that kind of thing that was going on, he was able to not just get by, but thrive during that time because of the relationships that he's built. So I would say that that is probably one of your greatest strengths.
Awesome. Awesome. And I think you touched on my next question, which is having now worked together for a number of years, where you have certain strengths that would complement each other. So, Ron, I know, Kara, where you situate in the business in marketing and in some operational support. But, Ron, where would you say, Kara's strengths show up in the business?
Honestly, the creativity and she's got this great way of looking from the top down and just seeing holes and also just ways of making things better. But the way she gave our company a personality was probably one of the biggest things she did on the marketing side of things. She really personified us. Seeing any of our ads, we're dressed up. We're cartooned as superheroes. And it's on our delivery trucks, and people love that. And she's brought our family into it. So it really makes us approachable. And I would have to say that was one of the biggest things that you've done as far as the marketing side.
Awesome. And I'm going to ask the same question to you, Kara. What does Ron bring to the table? That's particularly, I know we talked a little bit about his ability to community build and build relationships. What else does he bring to the table from a leadership standpoint that's valuable?
I there's so many things. I like I said, relationships is a huge part of it, and his experience being in this business for so long, his confidence level is also very comforting. I just always know that he's going to figure out whatever's happening because he has this very easy way. This is a very big yin and yang. I worry and I catastrophize, and he does not. He takes the problems as they come and he's okay, what do we need to do to move forward and fix it? And nothing is ever an emergency, which I think is a huge benefit when you're running a business to not overreact to anything and to keep a level head. And he very much does that all the time. And while it's, as he was saying, like sometimes he doesn't see the forest through the trees where I can see the holes, that's a great synergy because it's easy for me to say, I see something there and I think we should fix it or change it or whatever. And he's always open to it, but he's also very pragmatic and here's going to be the ramifications of all of those things. So he's able to see that piece of it that I'm not. So I think it's a good synergy.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And I thought I was the only one that catastrophized over stuff. So thank you
Nope,
for your candor. I
not
feel a little
so.
better. Yeah. I am a crazy passionate Italian, so we do tend to get weird about things. But you've both now seen so many trends come through your industry. We were touching on one of them, the whole idea of bed in a box, as well as some others. But what is it that you do think say that some of these trends come and go, yet Shovlin sustains year after year, decade after decade? What do you think makes a really great mattress that some of these others that are maybe more on trend don't quite get for the long haul?
Again, being in the industry for so long,
Hmm.
and understanding the products, the raw materials, diving into some of the stuff that you hear some of the major manufacturers claim, I know it works, and I know what I like,
Hmm.
but more importantly, I know what my customer really wants, even though the customer doesn't. If they're looking for a certain feel support, they'll come in and ask me things about certain materials, and I can literally show them the difference between what's good and what's not good. And just having industry knowledge and thinking it through has really allowed us to stay ahead of the curve. So we're innovative in a sort of old school traditional way.
Interesting. I almost feel like you keep feeding my next question because it was along the lines of when to hold fast to tradition and when to innovate. Because honestly, and that question comes up a lot on this show.
Yeah.
Companies that are maybe 50, 100, one was close to 200 years old. When do you innovate and when do you hold fast to your traditions or your roots? So, how do the two of you weigh that? How do you weigh those decisions? How do you discuss that? And how do you know when it's time to, okay, let's bring this or let's adopt this or let's go here versus, no, that's not who we are. We're straying from our roots because that's a tough one. So,
Yeah.
how do you guys size that up?
We actually were just talking about this recently about the balance between innovation and tradition. And I think we settled on this idea that I think there are two sides of the same coin, and I think our remaining our first of all, our marketing I think is innovative and has always been in the leading edge. So you'll see like the industry now turning to health and wellness when they didn't used to be that at all. So we've been doing that for many years, and I believe that our sticking to tradition from a product perspective is actually innovative.
Hmm.
Because while the rest of the industry is trying to create the next best mattress and they're using all kinds of new and weird things and things that don't work and they don't find out they don't work until they've been in the marketplace for a few years and they're failing and what have you. We're doubling down on the stuff that we know works and the stuff that is really good quality and still lasts forever the way it used to when your
Hmm.
grandfather bought one. And so in this industry, that is innovative, oddly.
And it's not that we're not looking at what they're doing and
No.
trying to better it.
Right.
For
Mhm.
instance, we designed our own bed in a box, and
Okay.
it was by far superior than anything that I've seen out there, but it wasn't to my standards, so I never
Mhm.
took it to market.
Okay.
Some people say you're crazy. You could have capitalized on it. You could have marketed under a different name. If it ever got back that Shovlin Mattress Factory put this product out there that was substandard, it just didn't resonate with me. So I wasn't going to chase the dollar just to put a product out there.
And I think that's innovative, actually, in my opinion.
And incredibly disciplined. We see companies overextending themselves from a brand and position standpoint all the time. And it's all in the name of a lot of times it's pressure. It's the next generation's got to prove themselves and we've got to do something cool. And sometimes it's just, as you say, chasing every person with a dollar hanging out of their pocket.
Yeah.
And sometimes it requires that discipline and an honor to the core brand to say, is that who we are? Is that true to who we are? Because if it's not, there's probably going to be a problem. Maybe not right away, but somewhere out there, a
Right.
bomb's going to go off because we did that.
Yeah.
And those are hard to see. And it takes a lot of discipline. So I commend you on that, Ron. That's
Thank
really a
you.
great character to have.
Yeah.
And if he
That
ever
is the
goes off the rails, Carrie, you hold him in check and say, no, that's not who we are. We touched on this before, community involvement. Certainly you have deep roots in the regional community, but if you could talk for that, what role has local loyalty played in long-term success?
It's the best advertising, right? Is word of mouth. We both are born and raised in Westfield, which is a neighboring town to where our business is. And my father was even a police officer in Westfield for 30
Oh,
years.
wow.
Our family name has just been in the community since the 60s or 50s. They're supporting us, so it's natural for us to support back. But the schools, the parks, the communities, the
fire
churches, the
department,
fire
the
departments, you know,
veterans.
we want to make sure that they're all taken care of. The community is what it's all about, and that's just how we've always been. And so we've been expanding that to the surrounding towns, and we're going to be opening up another store in a few months. And
Oh, wow.
part of the thing is to really get involved into those communities as well. Because again, we want to support as many people as we can. It's more than just making money.
And back in the day, I think a lot of our business was repeater referral
Mhm.
before the internet. And also it's a different community now. It's a little more transient. So back when we were in the 80s and 90s, it was a lot of generational families here. So it was different. Everybody knew who we
Yeah.
were, but now people are moving in and moving out, and so we have to remain very vigilant and very active in letting the community know that we're here. And of course, now there's social media, so that helps a lot. But it's just we always feel like it's important to be involved in the community where you're doing business because
Mm.
you are a part of the community separately as a business than you are as humans.
Yeah.
It's just a
Yeah, and
big part
those
of
second, third generation customers too are fewer and fewer.
yeah.
But it's great that you have them. That's
Oh yeah.
amazing. That just shows the standing loyalty to the brand. And to anyone that's ever said to me, hey, well, everybody knows us, I'm like, great. What does everyone think of you?
Exactly.
And I think the two of you are covering both ends, making sure that to that next generation moving into town or moving into the greater region, they know we're here, but
Mhm.
also what do they think about us? They know
Yeah.
what we stand for and what we're all about as people and as producers of a best in class product. So that's terrific. Kara, I'm going to pick on you this time.
Okay.
So if one of our listeners or several of our listeners that might be a part of a couple who's thinking about going to business together, what would be a piece of advice you might give them before taking that next step or
Don't
that
say
first
run.
step?
Don't say run.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think what's worked for us is getting really clear about which roles you're going to fill and making sure that all those bases are touched by one of
Mhm. Okay.
I think so we're filling very different roles in Shovlin and we're filling very different roles at Beam. We're
Mhm.
paying attention to like which piece of that is falling under my responsibility and vice versa. So that's been super helpful. It just circumvents any like issues where I'm like, I thought you were going to handle that, and I thought this was on your plate. And so we also have very regular conversations about what's getting handled and how and when and by who. So I think that's important.
Yeah,
Super
that's great
clear.
advice. Ron, how would you follow that up? What would you say? Hey, here's something you should talk about before you take the step and say, hey, let's go into business together.
Really, what she said is spot on. One of the things we try and do is try and get it all done before dinner too. And because the hardest part is bringing it home and then it be a part of all of your conversations.
Mm.
Trying to, and it takes time, especially early on, right? Because it becomes your entire life. But there is more to life than work.
Yeah.
And so really making sure you have that work-life balance, especially if
Mhm.
you're working together closely. But definitely knowing your roles and counting on each other to do what they say they're going to do.
And having some boundaries, I think, is a great follow-up to that. To say, I know when my dad and I overlapped, I had to be the enforcer of that, but it was like we'd be at a family gathering, we'd start talking about work. I'm like, Dad, this is not an emergency. Nobody's going to go to the ER between now and Monday. Let's talk about this on Monday. Let's just be a family gathering. And I think what certainly resonates for me is the strength of your relationship. I'm the youngest of four, and all my sibs did a turn through Delia Associates and moved on. And I'm like, my brothers, they used to fight like hell with my dad. Why did they think it was going to be any different in the office? Suddenly we're going to all get along? No, they're going to fight because we're crazy, passionate Italians, and that's what we do. But
Yeah.
having the strong relationship going in, I think, for the two of you makes it quite viable. And it sounds like when the time came, hey, I need help. Hey, I'm ready to help you. Let's do this. Okay, let's do this. Let's divvy up the roles. And by the way, once we're done with dinner, let's put it away until the next evolution the next day. All great advice. As you look to the future, Ron, just if you could for a moment, you've got a lot of, you've got this new venture going on. It sounds like you got a new location opening up, but what else is exciting you right now in the business?
Potentially bringing the kids in. There's talk. One of them seems to be interested, both of them possibly. So really building the business to where it's less of a family business, but also more of a family business.
So the kids, if you don't mind me asking.
They're 22 and 23.
Okay, so they're nearing that age where they could step in and be an impact player. Yeah,
Absolutely.
awesome.
So,
Okay,
that's part of the growth strategy, right? We want to grow the business so there's room for everybody. At the same time, really keeping that family atmosphere so they can carry that tradition on. So
cool.
it's exciting. It's also
Yeah.
little scary.
Yeah, that is. Kara, how about you? What's exciting you right now? I know you've got a lot going on with the new venture and everything else, but what else is exciting for you in the business right now?
Yeah, that concept of either building it to sell or building it to pass on. I'm excited about him stepping away a little bit, to be honest with you. That will be really nice too. Again, Beam is not as much of a it's not going to require as much time by either one of us as Shovlin does. So I will be, however we choose to evolve and grow Shovlin, I'm excited for what that will look like for us as a family because having him prepare for not retirement, of course, but just a change of the guard, so to speak, is exciting.
I like
Change has been
retirement.
also retirement. We're not quite there yet.
What's very reassuring is of all the things we've talked about, and you have a lot of initiatives in play, it's very clear that they're all very thought out. Nothing is being done on a whim or a wishful thinking, but very thought out, very methodical, very planned. And I think it's really a testament to the strengths you both bring collectively to make it. And I have no doubt that you'll be very successful in all of these new ventures. The kids that's a question mark. That's up to them. That's a question mark. We'll see. But that would be exciting too. So last question. If any of our listeners wanted to learn more about you, your journey, or Shovlin Mattress, or even possibly visit the factory, what's the best way for them to connect?
I'll let you take that one.
Like our website and all of that good stuff?
Yeah, all that good stuff.
All right. Our website is shovlinmattress.com and we are at Shovlin Mattress on Instagram and Facebook. And you can stop in anytime at 35 South Avenue in Fanwood. That's where we're located. Beam will be right down the street. So on the same street on the other side. So.
Perfect. Ron, Kara, thank you so much for joining me today. Your story is inspiring, and it's a great look at how tradition and innovation can coexist and in a family business, and how a shared purpose can build something that truly lasts. For anyone interested in learning more, again, it's shovlinmattress.com or stop by their Fanwood showroom to experience what great craftsmanship looks like. Again, we've been speaking with Ron and Kara Shovlin of Shovlin Mattress, and I'm your host, Ed Delia, and this is Growing Up B2B. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Ron, Kara, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks a lot, Ed. This was great. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
Have a good one.
Hey, thanks so much for tuning into Growing Up B2B. To explore more episodes and insights, visit podcast.delianet.com. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please give us a rating or review on your podcast platform of choice. Having worked with hundreds of family-led businesses across my career, and being a second-generation leader myself, I'm on a mission to help every family business I meet achieve next-level growth for their organization. So feel free also to connect with me on LinkedIn and let's support each other. You can also find out more about my company at delianet.com. Again, I'm your host, Ed Delia, and thanks so much for joining us today. Take care.